Hello, everybody. Dave Neal here, stand-up comic and host of Bachelorette Recap, a guy's review. Week 5 begins tonight, but in the meantime, some more stories in Bachelor Nation to report to you guys. As you all know, I've been following the PPP, some might call fraud that has existed within Bachelor Nation. Several former contestants, leads of the show, have had their private applications looked at. I guess it's all public. You can go to ProPublica.com and find it out. But Arie was one of them who people looked at because he got a $20,000 loan. Of course, this is government. They are forgiving these loans as long as they go to payroll and certain other expenses. And he got this loan for his LLC as an influencer husband, which has nothing to do with his real estate. He bought a Range Rover. He bought a second home in Hawaii during the pandemic. They've got like leather bassinets. I mean, conspicuous consumption is what we call it. So why should he be getting $20,000, which might not seem like a lot to some people, but for others, it's the difference between floating in the deep end and having a life raft during a global pandemic. So anyway, this story has actually picked up steam. People have said, Dave, why do you keep talking about this? I think it's bigger than Bachelor. The story is picking up steam. The Young Turks, if you don't know them, progressive-leaning, independent news, 5 million subscribers, pretty big channel, not exactly mainstream media, but on the way. They decided to talk about this. Former contestants on The Bachelor, as well as fake farms, helped scam billions in PPP loans. That's right. It all adds up. So we might just be looking at Arie or Tayshia in their $20,000 they received, but it all adds up. This money was just thrown at people, and there really wasn't a system set up to decide who deserves the money. So when the time came for that restaurants and other small businesses were trying to get money, the funds were immediately depleted. Let's play a clip from this conversation. They are going to butcher everyone's name in this, but let's just get to the information.
Are some individuals who took advantage of the small business loans that were part of the coronavirus relief package that probably shouldn't have touched that money. So we're gonna tell you a little more about who they are and why we think it's a bad idea to take advantage of this money that was supposed to be used for small businesses to entice them to keep their employees on payroll. This was supposed to eventually help actual workers, but in some cases, that's not what happened. Now we're finding out that people ranging from Bachelorette stars to non-existent orange farm owners in Minnesota took full advantage of the program. As Vice News reports, Tayshia Adams, who's co-hosting the current season of The Bachelorette, after starring as the Bachelorette in 2020, got a $20,833 PPP loan for her LLC. And then there are other examples. Arie, an ex-bachelor, also received over $20,000 in a PPP loan alongside his wife, Lauren Burnham, Lewandike, I think, they shared Arizona-based LLC. Their shared Arizona-based LLC is called Instagram Husband LLC. Okay, so you know what they are? They post things online. Now,
Dale Moss, the other one, it said in the graphic, to be fair, did not collect the funds, so he was approved for a loan and didn't take it. We don't know if that's pending or if it's on the way. But this is Anna Kasparian. She's actually my favorite voice on the Young Turks. Some of them, Jank and the other guy, they just kind of annoy me. But everyone, to each your own. I might annoy some people myself. But the idea that they are fighting, these stories are important. They're gonna. I'll let them play a little bit more.
They're influencers.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Meaning they're self-employed. They're self-employed. Like, what are they doing?
I'm not against influencers having an LLC and collecting their money. Absolutely. If you lost money and you need it for your family, that's what it was all about. So to me, an influencer losing their gig and their livelihood is no different than a restaurant worker losing their job. I mean, we're not gonna battle between who, ethically speaking, who's got a better job than the other. That's not the point of the argument here.
Well, they're together. It's beautiful. You know it because his hand is going out into the photo and hers is drawing it in towards the beach. So
those are,
they're not
right.
solo.
That does take a lot of work.
Well, I mean, it's something.
It takes a lot of work.
By the way, in reading about this, apparently there are a number of companies called Instagram Husband. It's like not even an original name for a company. There's a bunch of them.
Can you do that? Can you have multiple LLCs under the same name?
It depends on what state it's in and stuff like that. Little variations on the name, but that's a basic idea.
That's great. That's awesome. Yeah. By the way, these LLCs are described as if they're meant for independent artists, writers, and performers, which It's just a fancy way of saying that they're online influencers. That's what they do. But think about it. They took over 20.
The story here is not that they're online influencers. It's not up to us to decide if their job is morally superior to another person's job. If you're a creator, a DJ, a comic, a beauty blogger, I don't care. That's not what we're talking about. You're losing focus here. Come on, get to the point.
$20,000 in PPP loans, which were intended for companies that have employees in an effort to prevent them from firing or laying off those employees. That's not what happened here. Anyway, okay, let me give you more. These are the more egregious examples, if you ask me. One other company that is a target of a federal investigation is known as Cabbage. It's an online lending platform that handed out hundreds of thousands of PPP loans. In fact, 75% of all the loans that Cabbage issued actually had no human to review it. Sounds like what the housing market was like prior to the 2008 collapse. They issued about 378 PPP loans worth about $7 million to fake farms that just don't exist. There was an orange grove farm in Minnesota, for instance. We don't grow oranges in Minnesota. There were a number of farms in Ocean County, New Jersey, which is a beach community. It doesn't have farms. And that's a statement from Dr. Craig Holman from the Public Citizen organization.
I don't know what you want. Like, without the $7 million, we might never grow oranges there. At least now we have a chance, a fighting chance for Mideastern citrus.
These are just fake companies.
Yeah, totally. No, but doesn't it seem like with the orange thing that like they're kind of like trying to like see how far they can go? Why would you say that? Just say it's for potatoes or beets or something. Yeah, I think it's not even about the money.
Like, ooh, like they get goosebumps. Like, ooh, how much can how can I, scam the federal government at a time when people are desperate for financial relief? These people are awful.
Yeah.
So they go on and talk some more about other ways that the IRS has been defunded. Here's what the problem is. The most people that are audited are people that can't afford a good accountant. They're lower level people, like people that have some tax write-offs. But once you get to a certain threshold, make enough money, you're protected. So like the upper middle class, they're protected. They know what they can do and not do, and they can play within the legal system. And that's part of the problem. Is it's an education, but it's also the sort of privilege to have the resources to play the system. And of course, restaurants and small businesses, some took advantage of that and some didn't. The thing with freelance employees is a whole separate conversation because I'm a freelance employee. I don't get unemployment if my business goes under. So you do want to provide benefits to people in this scenario that couldn't just go on unemployment. Many freelance workers lose income, but they can't report that income because it's like if you're a DJ and the world goes into a lockdown, you're going to lose X amount of gigs that might not have been on the books yet, but they would have been. So there's no job security for freelance people. You just kind of have to hope, hey, things will be okay, because they always have been. We've never had a global pandemic in our lifetime that shut down the world, but it did. The bigger problem is the incompetency within the government that they weren't able to oversee this. So an online lending platform literally giving money away. I want to know, was there an online what online lending platforms lended money to Arie, or as she called Arnie? What online lending platforms loaned money to Tayshia? With Tayshia, I'm less upset. I'm less annoyed at Tayshia because at least her publicist issued a statement that, which again, I don't believe was correct. But the publicist said, "Hey, we used the $20,000 PPP money to hire an assistant and everything." And my thought was, look, it's not about growing your business. It's about sustaining current workforce. So I think that argument's thrown out the window. But with Arie, he's kind of got the gall to not even respond at all. He's just like, you know what? F you. F the people that we took the money from. He hasn't said anything. And maybe if my platform was bigger or if there was a greater concern for these little issues, I think we'd all rise together and be like, Arie, we're demanding you explain yourself here. And legally he doesn't have to, but you don't get to sort of squeegee all of your influencer income from the Bachelor community and all the people that supported you, and then just buy a Range Rover and a second home in Hawaii and leather bassinets and all the other things, and not explain why you really needed that 20 grand? Maybe there's a logical reason I'm missing. I don't believe so. The only 2 employees listed in his LLC were him and his wife, and clearly they're very well off. So I just don't understand it. And I don't think it's like respectful to all of their fans and all of the people that support them and all of Bachelor Nation to be like, to let this go without being like, hey, we call bullshit on this. We call bullshit. So there's been something like estimated $80 to $100 billion in fraud, and every $20,000 case, it kind of adds up. So for every $20,000 case, don't you think we could put that $80 billion to all the restaurants that are closed? I mean, it's like, oh, you want to go to the Thai place? Nah, they shut down. Want to go to the Italian place? They couldn't make it. All right, there's a Denny's and an Olive Garden left over. It's wiping away the creators, including the small mom and pop shop restaurants and all the other kind of like, the spice rack of society that gives us some flavor. That's all being just like annihilated, and all we're going to have left are the franchises that could ride this all out and the Arnies of the world. Is that what we want? How about less Arnies receiving their 20 grand and more mom and pop shop restaurants, more people that actually need the money? And for Tayshia's sake, she issued a statement. I don't think it was sufficient because I truly, and again, the problem when you're giving away literally trillions of dollars to help small businesses is there's no government agency to oversee it all. And I know people say, oh, we don't want, it's too much government overreach. And this is what happens when you don't have people approving loans. I mean, you have to have like some semblance of proof that you're giving away these loans. They basically said, here, sign on the dotted line, make something up, and then you're going to get your money. And now they, like Nick Viall said, they didn't think anyone was going to be watching. And now that we are, and now that the Young Turks called it out, hopefully, that video itself only has 45,000 views, which is ridiculous. They released it on 4th of July. But, will Dateline, will CNN, will Fox, will other larger mainstream media start talking about this and sort of force a statement out of them? Would be nice to see. Let me know what you guys think. I've got a live stream today at 4 p.m. West Coast time, 7 p.m. East Coast time. That's 1 hour before Katie Thurston's week 5 of The Bachelorette premiere, so you can go check that out. Then a 10 p.m. live stream tonight. Plenty of other content in between, so let me know what you guys think. We'll talk to you later, and I will be giving you any updates as they come. Bye now.